Welcome to Truman's Town Hall with your host, Matt Truman.
Hello. Thank you for downloading this episode. Thank you for sharing with a friend. This is episode 22. We're going to talk about the City Council work session coming up tomorrow, April 16th, 2019 at 6 p.m. Be there or be nowhere. Where do you have to be? 6131 Taylorsville Road at the council chambers. You got to be there. Get involved in your city government. First off, I apologize about the audio quality. This is a kind of a podcast on the move type deal. Secondly, I need to give a shout out to a young buck who is of voting age, to Dimitri. Thanks, Dimitri, for listening to Truman's Town Hall. Share it with your friends. Get them involved in city government as well. All right, let's talk about a few things real quick before we get into the agenda for tomorrow. Don't let this be the only source of your information. Check what is said on Truman's Town Hall. Do your research. If you don't believe what I say on Truman's Town Hall, do your research. Decide for yourselves. The only thing this podcast is meant to do is get folks involved in city government. Get involved with the tax dollars that is being spent on your behalf. That money does not belong to the city government. That money belongs to you, the resident. That's all. That's all we're trying to do. We're trying to hopefully inspire others to get involved. And I think we are starting to. There may be a few drop off because upset some people by asking certain questions or talking about certain issues. We can't ignore things. We have to talk about it. Look, I'm going to tell you this right now. I seriously believe this. I seriously believe that there are more good things that happen in Huber Heights than there are bad things. On this podcast, we talk about politics. We talk about city government and state government and national government. We talk about the issues at hand, things we can improve upon. That's what we talk about. Now, call me negative Maddie, whatever, okay. But we talk about the issues that we can improve upon, and we talk about some of the good things that are coming your way, some of the good things that the city is providing. City government plays a purpose. There's a vital role for government. I truly believe that. But there is also a more vital role in you involved in your government and which it works. Okay. Enough of my bloviating. Let me talk about the City Council agenda for tomorrow. Work session topics of discussion. Agenda item A, City Manager Report. Always important to watch and listen to the City Manager Report. Very important. Item B, Parks and Recreation Board update. That'll be a very interesting update to see where the Parks and Rec Board are coming. And they have made great strides with the leadership on that board. Very happy with that. Item C is city liability insurance renewal. Item D, self-contained breathing apparatus. Award contract for the fire division. I believe they got a grant for a portion of that. So grants are always good to be looking for in the city. It's free money. Item E, supplemental appropriations. If you've listened to this podcast before, you know that supplemental appropriations is always something that I ask people to look at and watch the discussion for that. So the purpose in the background, if you go to hhoh.org and you click on it, it'll pull up the supplemental appropriations, and it explains that there is a $9,000 transfer for Montgomery County TIF fund To GO Bond Retirement Fund for debt payment on bonds. Debt payment. Pay off the debt. That's always good. Paying off debt. $7,290 for general fund tax settlement collection fees from the county. $6,500 for fire fund tax settlement collection fees from the county. $23,000 for a vehicle for the park manager. $11,000 for encasing an exposed water line. And $600 for sewer fund assessment collection fees for the county. So that's your supplemental appropriation agenda item. That is something I recommend everyone pay attention to. Item F, Carriage Trails Special Assessments Agreement, 2019 new phases. Carriage Trails is growing. I believe it was described as an anomaly, but it is growing and growing fast. There are many houses out there. As someone who's looking for a house, there are plenty of houses on Zillow in the Carriage Trails area. So if you're looking for a house and you want to be a Huber resident, Carriage Trails has houses for you. But they're going to be talking about that special assessments. Item G, increasing spending limits. TEC engineering. That'll be something else you may want to pay attention to. And clicking on that, the purpose and background says this legislation allows the engineering staff to utilize the services of TEC Engineering to provide consulting work for the following 3 projects. Traffic counts and updating the signal timing on Brant Pike Traffic Interconnect System for an amount of $17,800. Traffic signal mast arm installation design for Chambersburg Road and Old Troy Pike intersection for an amount of $12,900. Investigating traffic issues on Old Troy Pike and other miscellaneous traffic studies and signal modifications throughout the city for an amount of $14,300. For non-emergency issues, the engineering division will obtain written quotes and meet competitive bidding requirements to ensure good taxpayer spending practices. That's what we want to hear, right? So the total cost is $45,000, and it's coming. The source of the funds is the gasoline tax fund. Item H on the agenda, 2019 street program award contracts. Item I, we've talked about that. The mast arm traffic signal for Brant Pike, Chambersburg Road, solicit for bids. Item J, City of Dayton water interconnection, including the installation of a booster station, meter pit, and water main. City of Huber Heights and the City of Dayton are joining forces on this. Item K, Winbrook property sale agreement amendment. So they're going to talk about an amendment for that. Item L, non-complaint driven code enforcement. I believe that was being brought up by your at-large councilwoman, Nancy Burge. Item N, National League of Cities service line warranty. I believe they did a brief to the city at the last work session, so they'll be discussing that again. Item N, we've talked about this before. City council compensation. We don't have to beat that dead horse anymore, but they'll be talking about it because that's a good thing. That's part of the transparency. The city council, I want to speak to this as a good item. City council compensation. They're bringing it to you over and over and over, so you have a chance to be a part of the discussion as it moves forward. So regardless if they vote yes or vote no, you have an opportunity. Because resolutions can be passed, one and done. You don't get the 30 days. But they're not doing that. They're being transparent. And we have to point out the good when there is good. I believe in that. Item O, the Lexington Place TIF District. When I clicked on this item, I was hoping to see some of the numbers attached to it. But there was nothing attached, so they'll just be continually, they will continue to talk about this TIF district area. And if you watched the last work session, and we kind of did a podcast, I believe it was number 20, TIF, that talked all about that discussion that was kind of fiery. And it involved some discussion of potentially defunding the schools through the water agreement, the tax agreement from 97. So we'll see where that has went. We talked about how the administrations from the city and the school board have met, and they should have a report for all of the Huber Heights citizens at the work session. And that's it, folks. That's it. We have to wait till tomorrow to see what is going to happen and what the discussion is going to be. I implore you to pay attention to all of it, and we'll come back later in the week with an analysis of what was discussed on Tuesday, April 16th. So if you're not able to make the meeting, hopefully you are. Hopefully more folks are getting involved. I know there are more folks listening to this podcast, and I can't say this enough. Do not allow this podcast to be your only source of information. Pay attention to the meetings. Do your own research. There's also the Chamber of Commerce is out there. I'm sure you can use them as a resource. HuberResidents.org. There's another resource. There's plenty of Facebook groups out there that you can talk to folks, ask questions. Utilize the council members' email. Utilize the city manager's email. If you have questions, ask them. I believe it was about a month ago there was a post from City Hall that they're doing a video. The city manager and mayor have done a video, and they're waiting on the editing to be complete on that. And on that post it said, we want your questions. So on this podcast we ask questions, and it's your time to ask questions as well. Get the answers that you deserve, that you need. Thank you for listening today. We'll be back later on in the week, and we'll see you later on in the week.
Thank you for listening to Truman's Town Hall. Share this podcast with your friends and neighbors and subscribe today.